let me know when everybody's back. Councilman Licciardi, you're back.
Yes.
Councilman Messier, you're back.
Yep, I never left.
Councilman D'Amico.
Here.
All right, so we're all here. Joe, let me know when you're ready.
You're all set, sir.
All righty, meeting call to order. Today is Tuesday, June 16th, 2020. It is now 9:23 p.m. Town council meeting via Zoom.
Councilman Licciardi?
Yeah.
Councilman Messier?
Here,
Councilwoman Williamson?
Here.
Council Vice President D'Amico?
Here.
Council President Goslin?
Here.
There is a quorum. Discussion, action, vote of town council. Any matter on this portion of the agenda may be acted upon by way of topic discussion and action by the town council with a vote on the record to approve, amend, deny, or table the agenda item. 1, discussion regarding actions and planning pertaining to addressing COVID-19 virus and the impact on the town operations.
Ernie, you're on mute. There you go.
Yeah, some general updates. Again, as far as the basic town services, town hall, again, we still remain closed to the public. We are in the process of finalizing a plan for town hall with appropriate social distancing, queues if necessary. We have these plexiglass barriers some are being built for us because of the type of location it is. So that is ongoing. As I said, the plan, which is under the guidance of the Rhode Island Department of Health, and every governmental agency will be required to have a reopening plan. And so we would have one for every town building that is available to the public. Town hall, police, fire, and the fire stations. Wastewater, we've heard, has one and it's operating. The Civic Center has one and it's operating. So that's one of the tasks that we are working on. I will say that I've been in contact with some of the town agencies, and the senior center is working on, has a plan, that reopening plan that they have and they're working on. And, during this time, even though they're closed, the senior center has provided a lot of services, meals for the elderly. They still provide the emergency services and support, that the human services aspect of it. And, Manny is on a task force for senior center agencies working with the Rhode Island Department of Health for guidelines for the reopening. I think that's a testament to his experience and recognition of his professionalism that he exhibits, that he's on that task force. So that's very good. The public library, again, is close to the public, but they are providing various services. They're going to be opening up, I believe, shortly, the computer room with appropriate social distancing upon appointment. We have a successful drop-off lending program where people can request the books and they can be brought out. So again, then they are also getting ready for preparing for a reopening plan. Again, the guidance will be coming forward, I believe, for these agencies. And again, there are so many different groups working on so many different areas. This task force will be working in the elderly affairs area and the library area. So again, there are concerted efforts from the state on so many different functional areas that they're working on. So again, our plan is we have a draft plan we're reviewing, and we'll be moving forward to that. A lot of guidance has come out recently for recreation programs, which again are very limited as far as number of individuals, staying in their appropriate 15-person group, not interacting with other groups. But again, we are endeavoring to get our facilities ready for those groups that use them. And eventually there probably will be some league play going on, possibly in the phase 3. So again, adjusting to the guidance as they come. Our playgrounds have been closed, if you will, but guidance is coming as to how to disinfect playgrounds, which is, the jungle gyms and things are going to be very, very difficult. So, again, we would be looking at their guidelines and then trying to implement them in a common sense method that will work for the town and its citizens. So, again, this overall is a major task, as you can imagine. There's so many elements to COVID-19. We are keeping the track of our expenses, and that's being forwarded to the Rhode Island EMA. So at some point we'll be eligible for 75% reimbursement for those. So this is our ongoing activity, and it'll probably be ongoing for a while. As the new guidances come in, we will be responsive to that. And that's all I had to report.
Any questions for Ernie? Thank you, Ernie.
Ordinance 2020-7, second reading, sponsored by Council President Goslin, an ordinance amending Section 5 use regulations, 5.3 table of use regulations, non-residential districts, J, other business uses, 1, hotels and motels, transient of the zoning code of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of West Warwick.
Have somebody move the ordinance?
I'll move the ordinance.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? As we talked about this last time, just the word transient was a concern, correct, Al? All right. Any public comment? See nobody raising their hand. I'll take a roll call vote. Councilman Licciardi? Councilman Licciardi?
Yes.
Councilman Messier? Somebody muted everybody.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williamson?
Yes.
Councilman D'Amico?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Mary Ann, you're on mute.
Sorry. Ordinance 2020-8, second reading, sponsored by Council President Goslin, an ordinance amending Appendix C, traffic ordinances of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of West Warwick. Location, Cross Street, sign, no parking. Description, no parking sign on east and west sides of Cross Street from intersection with East Main Street to intersection with Branch F.
Move the ordinance.
Second. You're on mute, David.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote. Councilman Licciardi?
Yes.
Councilman Messier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williamson?
Yes.
Councilman D'Amico?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Resolution for fees and charges of the Town of West Warwick, previously tabled, wastewater treatment facility, sponsored by Councilman Licciardi.
Move to take it off the table.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Move the resolution.
Well, second. All
Oh,
in favor?
wait a minute. we got an email from, I
Yeah,
believe
we
we all
still need
did.
to take it off the table. Yes.
Uh,
And then
Oh,
Al will take care of it.
Voting, take it off table?
Yes.
Yes, this is to take it off the table.
Then you can
Oh,
deliberate.
all right, yeah.
Councilman Lichardi?
Yes.
Councilman Messier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williamson?
Yes.
Councilman D'Amico?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Now I need somebody to make a motion to move the resolution.
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
Discussion.
David, the background to this is that I'm going to be asking that the council vote to amend what is before you to the resolution that I have submitted to you and to the clerk's office. What happened was 2 weeks ago, when this resolution was on the agenda, unfortunately, when I was sitting at home looking at the resolution, I was looking at the resolution that I had prepared and come to an agreement with Jim Jeremiah and Chris. I did not pay attention to the fact that what was attached to your agenda was the work product that had originally come out of the council. When Councilman Lichardi mentioned that the language was incorrect and that he had discussed it with Jim Jeremiah, it came as a shock to me because the product that I had submitted was the correction of the language that Jim Jeremiah had raised. So the next day when I looked at the agenda, I realized that unfortunately, as opposed to the ordinance that I had submitted, the original work product was attached to your agenda. I then, after again conferring with Jim and Chris, I sent in the corrected resolution. Once again, somehow or other, instead of the corrected resolution, the work product got attached to your agenda. Yet when I saw that on Friday afternoon, yesterday morning, I immediately discussed the matter with Tim, and we both came to a conclusion that since the only change is that 2 items have been deleted, a couple of items, the names have been changed and they've been consolidated, but all of the numbers are the same numbers in both documents. It's more of a language change, but the numbers are the same. The numbers are approved by Jim and by Chris, and they're the same numbers that you had before you 2 weeks ago, and that you have on the incorrect resolution attached to your agenda. As Councilman Lichardi said last week, even those numbers were correct. The numbers that I'm asking you to amend under the new resolution that I've submitted are the same. So I guess basically what I'm asking you to do is amend the resolution that is on your agenda to be the resolution that I have submitted at least yesterday and once before to you and to the clerk's office.
I'll just outline the changes.
Well, the major change was that the original, the work product had a item for drain laying and septic haulers, which Jim Jeremiah told me to remove, and we did. And then in the work product, there were things like grease interceptor, gas stations. Those were consolidated, and Jim used the language of food supply and maintenance and the laundry and master job. So basically it was Jim consolidated items in under different names, but the prices are all the same and the products are all the same.
So I would suggest to the council that if in fact you do want to amend it to vote on it tonight, the only thing you would be doing is under Exhibit A, page 1, where it says purpose, you would omit in its entirety drain laying and septic haulers. And then on page 2, you would combine, Al, is it grease interceptor, gas stations, and laundromats?
Yeah,
Or
but
is photo?
I don't think they can do it line by line, Tim, because there's been a number of different, to try and do it. Photo finishing isn't in there and it's just been rearranged. So my desire would be to have them accept the resolution as presented tonight as the amended resolution.
So I would make a motion that we accept the fee schedule that was supplied to us under this resolution with the new language that was supplied by Attorney DiFiore to the council yesterday.
Thank you. That's what I'm hoping, and what
So-
Jim asked me to. Go ahead.
Sorry, no, go ahead, sorry.
What?
All right, Al, a question then. I guess it's for Tim. You said there's no drain laying and no septic haulers, correct?
My understanding is that the drain laying and septic haulers part was to be deleted, but if Al's saying something different, I have
No,
to go by what Al said.
that was deleted.
If that's deleted in its
So-
entirety, I don't
So
see a
fees
problem.
and everything's out, right?
Right, you can amend that by
Okay.
omitting that. As far as the other information regarding grease interceptor, gas stations, photo finishing, laundromats and cleaners, my understanding is the fee schedule is correct, but they've now been all combined into one category, Al?
Yes, they've been, the names of the categories have been changed, but the
Okay.
dollars are all the same.
So
Okay,
again, with the suggestion that you omit by motion, drain laying and septic haulers, and then you address the combination or the renaming of the grease interceptor, gas stations, photo
Tim,
finish, laundromat.
if they accept as Mary Beth put it, if they accept the resolution as resubmitted as the amendment, it will cover all of those bases rather than trying
Al,
to.
what you sent yesterday isn't before the general public tonight. I know what the intent is, but if that document had been added, you'd be fine. But because it wasn't added for advertising purposes, the only way you're gonna pass this tonight is by having the council amend it, because all the information's here. All they need to do is amend it.
Is there
And
any-
then you're gonna be able to submit your revised exhibit anyway.
Well, I would not want to see the council trying to go line by line without going over it with Jim Jeremiah, so that I am positive that, what he's included.
Then I can only suggest tabling it again.
Same here.
Is there some sense of urgency? I thought there was a deadline that we needed to meet.
Jim said that he wanted it by the end of the month. He didn't specify why.
So perhaps, I hate to even say this, but we could add it to that 22nd special meeting.
Right. We can find out tomorrow from Jim exactly what needs to be changed. And then Al, if everything's the same as the memo you've given to the council, that would be a one-shot deal on the 22nd.
If you put it on the 22nd, then I will just contact Paula and make sure that on that agenda, the proper resolution is submitted, and then you just vote on the proper resolution as
Correct.
Yeah.
attached to that agenda.
I
yeah,
agree. That's
thank
the
you.
best way to do it.
Just
Yes.
table it.
So I
Thank
would
you,
make a
Mary Beth.
motion that we table the item once again.
I'll second.
Motion to table, seconded.
Thank you, Mary Beth.
Mary Ann, you got all that?
I got it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Ayes have it.
Al, 3 times as a charm.
Rhode Island Small Cities Community Development Block Grant Program. The town is applying for $1,642,780 for program year 2019 and for the activities listed below. They're looking to implement activities in authorization.
Elaine?
Hi,
Somebody want to move this?
Oh, I'm sorry.
sorry.
Somebody want to move this?
The resolution?
It's not, is
Yeah,
it?
it's not a resolution, Mary Ann, on the
No,
agenda.
it isn't a resolution, but it's going to be voted on. You don't have to move it if you're going to vote on it.
I gave Paula the resolution.
I have it right here.
All right, then we'll.
You
move
have
as
it in
the
your
resolution.
packet.
There is a resolution attached to it. It's not on the, yes.
Okay, move the
Second.
resolution.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Elaine?
Hi, everybody. So all of the activities that we're asking for obviously are listed. You have them in your packet. I will tell you, it is a big request on our part. We're asking for just over 1.6 million. I think all of the projects are viable. The statewide allocation is 5.4 million. So, you know, I'm not quite sure how well we will do this year, given the fact that at some point after the application process had already started, they authorized COVID reimbursement expenses for public service activities. So we put in a request for the senior center. That amount came to me from Manny. And then for St. Elizabeth, because we fund them under their Cornerstone Adult Services activities as regional funding. And my thought is that some of the other communities that deal with these subrecipients on a larger basis are going to be asking for quite a bit more than we're even asking for. So I thought it was worth giving it our best shot, certainly for the Brayton Street Drainage Project. It's a phase 2. I'm fairly confident that that item alone will be funded. The Tanglewood neighborhood has not received any money in a good amount of years, so I think that will fare well also. You know, it's a crapshoot at this point, to be very honest with you. You know, last year we did very well with the award. It was the largest we had received in 30 years. So I'm hoping that trend will continue into this year's application. But it is competitive, and we just never know. We can just put our best foot forward and hope for the best. So if you all have any questions on the specific activities, I can certainly answer them for you.
Elaine, I don't have any questions on these specific ones, but last year's, I know that got approved, that we starting to work on those for this year.
Yes, the Brayton Street project has been an ongoing work with Fuss and O'Neill. We've had several on-site meetings. We've had several Zoom meetings. And we expect to be having an in-person meeting within the next 2 to 3 weeks to go over the findings of what they have come up with so far and where we're going to be going in the future. And as far as the paving project, that bid is out now, and the due date, I believe, is the 26th of this month for Church Street and Harris. And we actually did that bid. I had asked Don to do the bid for unit pricing so that we will have a paving bid in-house that we can utilize for any future projects that may come up within this paving season, whether it's CDBG or town-related.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Elaine,
Yeah.
Elaine, do you know at that point, what the target date would be to begin Church Street's in my area, to begin Church Street?
I don't know the start date. That will depend on contractor's availability of whoever is awarded the bid, but it has
Okay.
to be done this construction season, so it will be done by mid-fall.
Is it possible? I'm just trying to think long term. The best time obviously to do it is, I would feel, is before school begins. Is it possible to push for that?
We can certainly try, absolutely.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Can I add something real quick?
Don?
Sure.
On the contract, we had September 15th as the end date. And so we're trying to move as quickly as we can to get the contractor started and then out. And clearly, any add-ons that we have would be for after September 15th, because the community development block grants have a deadline for you to get all of the paperwork in, get all the work done. And so we're trying to do that. We don't have a date yet, unless, Elaine, you've got something very recently. We
No,
know
they
that-
have not provided us with another final date. They've been very flexible because of what's been going on with this virus. It was originally a July completion date, and they have agreed for all communities to do away with those completion dates at this point.
So again, I just wanted to point out that we do have September 15th as the deadline on that, and we're going to try to move it as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Don. Any other questions for Elaine on this? Hearing none, I'll take a roll call vote. Councilman Licciardi,
Yes.
Councilman Messier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williamson,
Yes.
and Councilman D'Amico,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine.
Thank you.
I would actually make a suggestion. We have Mega here, and I'm sure they have to get up bright and early tomorrow morning.
You don't want to get up too early.
Can I get a motion to move item 13?
I'll make a motion to move number 13 now.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Miriam, we're on 13.
Yeah. A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of West Warwick extending and amending the Comprehensive Collection Services Agreement dated July 29th, 2015 with MTG Disposable LLC for the collection of solid waste and recycling to include collection of yard waste for a 5-year period at a total of $6,789,030.
Move resolution.
Second.
Second.
I think John moved the resolution.
John, when
Yeah,
you
you
put,
That's
Sorry, move resolution.
no, when you put your camera on, John, it's like it's using your bandwidth all up, but if I shut your camera off, you come up fine.
Okay. Move resolution.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Ernie, you want to give us an update?
Yes. The current agreement with Mega Disposal was a 5-year contract, which is expiring June 30th of this year. We started discussions with the company probably in January about a possible extension. And we discussed many different options and variations along the way from Mega doing additional work for the town. Part of the original agreement was for the town to buy these bins or totes and finance them over a 5-year period. And the cost was $214,000 or $217,000 a year. So at the conclusion of this year, those bins and totes are fully paid off. So that expense is going away. So our discussion was to add some additional services to the town. And we eventually came up with the proposal that Mega Disposal would provide yard waste pickup for our residents for 26 weeks a year. And those weeks can be determined by the staff and Public Works Director and Recycling Coordinator and Mega. Sometimes the volume is heavy at certain times than others. But the point we were getting at is that, again, if our forces, if this work, which is very important to the residents, can get done by a private contractor on a weekly basis for this 26-week period, then going back with the original concept, our forces could do other work. While this work is being done, our forces could do other work that we've discussed before. And what made this proposal intriguing was the fact that with the bins being paid off, if you factor in a 3% increase from the existing contract, including the yard waste component, the overall budgetary expense to the town is going up around $19,000. So by that sum, we would have our solid waste and recycling coordinator adding yard waste to that, so we would have the consistent ability, so it would be done at the same regular interval, so the residents would know that. And it seemed like a very good win-win for the town, so we could have that service provided on a regular scheduled basis, as well as allowing our forces to do other work that would be beneficial to the community. So again, we went through various scenarios, and this is sort of what we came up with. Now, the contract allowed for an extension up to 5 years, and I indicated in a memo and the resolution, it can be for varying periods of time. Based upon our discussions throughout the period, we would be recommending the 5-year agreement with the 3% escalator for the pickup of our solid waste, our refuge, recycling, and yard waste. And yard waste would be for that 15-week period, 26-week period. And also they would pick up I think up to 15 bags per pickup for a resident. So that in a sense is what the agreement is. That is the recommendation to the council. I know we have representatives from Mega here. I saw James Simone here. So again, if there's any questions that they can answer, I'm sure they would be happy to. And I certainly would be happy to answer any questions, as well as, our Director of Public Works or any of our staff that work on this project.
Any questions from the council on this?
I assume a schedule will be posted. Yard waste obviously is a big deal. It's a hot topic. We'll much like we do, I know we do every other week for recycle. So I assume that we will post something, or is it sort of ad hoc?
Nicole, can you answer that?
Yes, so I've already been working on a schedule. I did review it with Don, and it's a good plan. What we're looking at is most likely the slow, drier months in summer, which would be starting the way it would be is probably the second week in July, start an alternate weekly schedule. The yard waste will be picked up the same day as the trash schedule. So basically everything's going to be the same day. Residents don't have to worry about particular days. It's going to be very easy. Then as we get into the busy seasons, the fall, we will be in every week. It will be a weekly schedule till the end of November.
So what is it now? Every other, you said?
Now it's the like the first and third, second and fourth week. And then if there's a fifth week, it doesn't get done. So
because trash is every week, recycles every other.
Every other.
So I just want to, I think you meant the same as the recycling weeks. I want to make sure.
Well, it's not necessarily going to run that way, especially when we get into the on seasons, I'd like to call it. So,
yeah, but I think the benefit is
Go ahead, Jason. So, and yes, it will be advertised. I plan on utilizing the
the
web.
benefits.
Hold on. Councilman Messier, you're breaking in and out, so I don't know where you are with your cell phone, but
Well, let me just continue with the communication. So it will be, I plan on when we start to go full force with the advertising of the program. The calendar will be fixed on the website. So the pickup dates will actually be highlighted for the ease of understanding the pickup dates. It will be on the website. It will be on the Facebook page. And I also plan on communicating through the red alert system as well.
So Nicole, the only question I would have is, you know, the dry season, yes. And thankfully we have had the town work some evenings and go and pick up, but would we maybe need a burst out on when it starts to make a sweep right away?
I think knowing that residents have already been used to that first and third and second and fourth week, they've already been used to an alternate weekly schedule. And even those fifth weeks, some of them had to wait 3 weeks for a pickup. I think once they are finished their pickup that they're doing now, I think we'll be able to catch up, especially as we're starting that July. We're starting to end it. I think everybody's put so much out already, and it will be 13 bags of pickup. It's a lot. So I think we'll be able to catch up. And then once things get heavy again, we'll be on a weekly schedule until winter comes.
And I think the other benefit is in the past now is that people left it out and they didn't know if it would be picked up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of that week.
A huge benefit.
You know, so now it's not going to sit out in the rain or the, you know, the nasty weather, and it won't get the bags won't get kind of destroyed. So I think that's one of the huge benefits.
Yes, it's basically everything's going to be a one day event for residents, including even the curbside program that we have with the textiles. Everything's the same day, easier to remember for residents. And yeah, we'll get that. I will definitely get the communication going.
Nicole,
Does it have to? Sorry, no, you go, Jay. No, you go, Jason. Sorry. Sorry.
Some of the issues that we have with communication is not everybody uses a computer. We have in town, obviously, a lot of older residents. Is there any way we could do like maybe 2 ads in the reminder? Just to put the schedule out there, or when we send out the tax bills, I don't know if that would be more of a pain, but just to put the schedule out there, and it could be the yearly schedule.
Yeah, I could actually.
You're all, excuse me, you're all getting a little upstream from the contract.
Okay, but yes, that's as far as answering Mary Beth's question, communication will go out full force. And Jason, yes, I can definitely look into my other options for getting it out to everybody.
Okay, thank you.
I have one question. I see it's a 5-year contract. Have we looked at 3-year, 1 year, 1 year? Have we looked at anything? You know, you are locking the town in at 5 years here. Ernie?
Well, when we started discussions, there's a whole variety of different options we're looking at potential services. The reason for the 5-year agreement, the company that we have, it works well with our staff, and so that familiarity and continuity is important. The contract does lock us into a % increase, so it's a known factor. If the contract is lower, shorter years, then would that be a same price? So it was pretty much for the consistency of the operation for the next 5 years. The familiarity with the firm that is already working for us, And again, they have, the type of equipment that most of the companies have. One of the discussions we had was, I think it was in December, when a competitor contacted the town and wanted to sit down and talk about their services because they knew the contract was expiring. So we had a meeting and it was very interesting, took a lot of notes and thought things are pretty good. And they said, well, we're going to be more expensive than your current vendor. And I said, okay, why? And some of the issues. And when we met with our current vendor, I was asking the same questions. They basically did the same things. They have the cameras, they have the GPSs on their equipment. And so they seem to me to have the equipment and the technology that the other company has that self-admittedly said they would be higher than what we're paying now. And so it seemed like they had the technology, the resources. They have worked with us 5 years, and overall, I think they perform well. And, any company that you have is going to have calls about, mislocations or whatever. And I think that they go back and fix it, even though they have GPSs, so they know what they covered, So again, it was more of the 5 years because of the locking in the contract as it is. But clearly, the way the contract was structured, the agreement can be for up to 5 years at the town's discretion, or it can be increments of various options. I mean, one approach could be if it's a smaller contract and see how things are going and potentially rebid. So those are all options. But again, just to summarize, when we looked at it, they were very good to work with. I believe they're very good to work with Nicole in the operational issues that come in and the consistency and stability of an operation for 5 years. Those were the basic reasons for the recommendation.
Can I add one thing? The other reason why you go 5 years over 3 years is that for this company to come in and do this work is a big investment on equipment. Every one of those Packards, and they can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's around $400,000 to buy a new Packard. And your life expectancy of a Packard working like that is 8 to 10 years. So if you want them to be a viable company coming in and doing the work, you have to give them a long contract so that they can amortize the vehicles.
Thank you. Any other questions for the council?
I just have one, and I know it was specified like how many bags. Does it have to be in a bag? Can it be in? Because I know sometimes now people will leave it in like a garbage bin or some kind of a bin. Does any of those requirements matter?
Jim, would you like to answer that?
Or Jim?
Yeah, we have done that in other communities where if the resident marks the barrel accordingly and it's just used for yard waste, so it's not alternated week, 1 week it's this and 1 week it's that. As long as it's marked clearly that it's yard waste, we'll be able to take it. And as long as it's within the 15 maximum limit, we'll be able to take it.
Yes, and James, I was speaking with Mike Nunes, who's the operations manager for us in West Warwick, about following the same guidelines that we already have set in place for our residents right now. So those really will not change. It's basically going to be the same. The paper bags or other trash receptacles, as long as they don't exceed the 35 pounds for those drivers, which doesn't seem a lot, but when you're picking up about 100 barrels, that's a lot on your back after a while. And actually a good amount of bags on the side. So 15 bags. Yes. So the same thing as far as brush as well, will have to be tied and bundled the way the policy is now. So that will not change for the residents. They're not going to have to deal with any changes on that aspect.
The same MMP.
What is the time going to be? Is it going to be up until 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 7 o'clock at night? I mean, what should we be expecting?
Once again, you're getting beyond the contract. You're getting into the schedule. That's more of a matter that should be handled through a line item on the agenda for
On the,
Donaletta to resolve that, or for Nicole to resolve.
Solicitor Williamson, on the contract, it does have a time of when they're starting, so that would be a question for anybody who would say, are they going to be starting still the normal time, 6 a.m. and later? And also, I understand it's going to probably take time throughout a day to do 3 different runs, especially when you do, if you got the week of recycling, week of yard waste, and a week of trash all the same week. The question I have is, what's the M&P going to be? Does the M&P stay the same if something gets missed or skipped?
Dave?
Method and procedure. So right now, we call Nicole, and Nicole, you call Mega.
Right.
When something's missed. Is that staying the same?
That will be what will be going on here. I will be dealing directly with them if there's an issue. The same I do now with the trash and recycling.
Thank you.
The other thing we're limited by is the landfill closes at 3:30 in the afternoon, so we try to get all the trucks emptied and complete the routes completed by that time anyways. Obviously, during heavy times, we have to go back after that 3:30 time, but we're limited by the 3:30 close time at the landfill anyway, so.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I would just add, like, I know that if we talked about adding something in our newspaper or something, if it's approved, just that the council gets all the details, so I would like to get as much as possible out on social media, because I get questions literally every day at this point. So just so we can get the information out as quick as possible, if it's approved.
Understood.
So again, if we haven't voted on the contract, obviously there's going to be scheduling that Nicole's working on. Once she gets that out to the council, we can discuss that at a later date. If we want to make changes, that's going to be fitting for the town, then we can discuss that at a later time. But right now, there's just the contract we're voting on. Any other comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, I'll take a roll call vote. Councilman Licciardi?
Yes.
Councilman Messier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williamson?
Yes.
Councilman D'Amico?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Consent agenda license application resolved that the consent agenda having been posted, all matters being referred to proper departments and being disposed of or awaiting recommendations, the same is hereby approved.
I'll move the resolution. Are we on license applications?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to recuse myself.
Second.
Just making sure you got that I recuse myself, Marianne.
I got it.
Move this.
Thank you.
Any discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, I'll take a roll call vote. Councilman Licciardi?
Yeah.
Councilwoman Williamson?
Yes.
Councilman D'Amico?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Getting tired, Marion? I heard the yawn.
I know, sorry. Yeah, it's getting late. Minutes of the previous meeting, resolved that the minutes of the May 26th, 2020 and June 2nd, 2020 town council meetings are hereby accepted.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moving second, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Councilman Licciardi?
Yeah.
Councilman Messier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williamson?
Yes.
Councilman D'Amico?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Claim, resolved that the town council hereby approves or denies the following claim against the town. I think Robert Volno in the amount of $285.99.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moving second, any discussion? Any discussion on this matter? Hearing none, I'll take a roll call vote. Councilman Licciardi,
Yeah.
Councilman Messier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williamson,
Yes.
Councilman D'Amico,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes.
Finance Director's report. The Finance Director will review the expense and revenue reports as of May 31st, 2020 for the town's general fund and civic center enterprise fund.
Current year tax collections to date as of May 31st were $63,903,774.88, which is 98.54% of the budget. Collections were continuing to come in strong at that time. They are starting to slow down though. Prior year tax collections to date were $1,028,234,003, which is equal to 68.55% of the budgeted amount. And the line had been previously adjusted for the 60-day accrual of $613,331.31. This budget line generally increases closer to year end with tax sale. The tax sale was originally scheduled for May 7th, but due to the COVID-19 pandemic, it has been moved to August 27th, 2020. The venue has also been changed to the West Warwick Civic Center. Overall, the revenues are at 92.99%, which is slightly higher than expected 11 months into the fiscal year. Revenues are conservatively projected to come in under budget for fiscal year 2020. This is mainly due to the uncertainty of the tax collections. Overall expenditures are at 82.53%, which is lower than expected 11 months into the fiscal year. And as of May 31st, all of the operating budgets were trending on or below their the 91.67% expected to be expended. Cash flows continue to improve with the successful implementation of Lockbox. The general fund balance as of 6/8/2020 was in $11,729,000. I checked it tonight before the meeting. It's still at $11,005,000. As I continue to update projections for the fiscal year 2020 year end, it appears the general fund will be in a surplus position. A great deal of the surplus is related to vacant positions in DPW. Continued vacancies lead to less projects being completed and less spending. Yeah, that's all I have for that.
Any questions for Kristen?
So that tax sale will will be completed in August, so we'll actually be able to reap those benefits in this budget, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Kristen?
Okay.
Thank you,
Road
Kristen.
bond funds. The road bond fund currently has a fund balance of $328,400.
Actually, Kristen, do you want to go over the Civic Center budget too? The Civic Center?
Sure. Did I close it? I hope not. Hold on. Monthly reports.
Just because it was on the agenda.
Yeah, that's fine. So the Civic Center is year-to-date transactions for expenses totaling $511,009.14. We're projecting that they're going to come in at $668,000 because we're going to be recording the electricity payment and the health and their general liability insurance. So that will bring them to about approximately $668,000. As of May 31st, they were at $598,672.94 for revenues. Lori gave me some updated numbers for the revenues for our projected revenues to come in at $613,303.34. So as of June 1st, we were projecting a deficit of $54,759.82, and that's really, you can see it's mainly because the field house rental and the rental income for the buildings. We're not getting that. That's $44,000 right there. Concession stand revenue. Those three revenue sources right there are the $50,000 that we're coming under, and it's solely due to this COVID-19 pandemic.
What's the accumulated deficit for that? For the Civic Center, do you have any idea? Just ballpark. I mean, I'm not,
So, let's see. See if I can find it in here quick.
yeah, I didn't look at that. I should have looked at that myself.
I know, I just looked at the due to what they owe the town. It was a little over 800,000.
Okay.
What they still
Close-
owe back to the town.
Close
the
enough.
Yeah,
That's okay. So this will add to that.
excuse me?
If the deficit does indeed come in at this amount, that'll be added to
Yes.
yes. Okay, thank you.
All set.
Any other questions for Kristen? Thank you, Kristen.
Road bond funds. The road bond fund currently has a fund balance of $328,448.28. These funds are broken out into numerous categories and are as follows. Ward 1, $37,862.26. Ward 2, $34,036.93. Ward 3, $32,228.59. Ward 4, $148,535.51. Retainage not paid as of yet, $35,664.55. Excess funds from senior center, refi, $40,120.64. Want me to read the whole thing? You good?
Yeah, we're good. Just a comment on the road bond. Don, and correct me if I'm wrong, if they come in and set up these asphalt companies, whoever it may be, and is doing Church Street and Harris Avenue, at that time, wouldn't it be best that if somebody in somebody's ward has something that, because they're probably already set up in place, they might want to do that? I know that's how we were saving a little bit of money last time also.
We could turn around and utilize a change order to add other work. I would only suggest that if that's the direction you're going to head in, that you get your request in tomorrow or Thursday, so we can do up an estimate and we can start kind of getting that work. It doesn't make sense to try to do a separate contract for it, because if you do, it's going to be such a small contract and you won't get the best pricing on it.
Don, who do we send this to, and what do you want us to say on it?
I would send it to the town manager, and then when the town manager says for me to go ahead and do this work, then I'll turn around and do this work.
Okay. So basically what you would need is the request of the road we want to do, road or roads we want to do with the road bond money, correct?
Correct.
And what else?
That's pretty much
Is that
it. I need the limits.
Okay. Fair enough. Thank you.
Any other questions?
So does everyone understand what we're doing?
Actually, I think you should go over that, Kristen.
So basically, we took out actually it was more than that. It was like a $6 million bond. 5 million of that was for roads back in 2015. Back in February, I initiated a conversation with our bond counsel, Karen Grande, in regards to the use of the road bond funds to be used for the asphalt reclaimer. As it, she started to pick up on the fact that we had unspent funds, she quickly pointed out that the funds must be spent by year end or applied to debt service. Basically, federal tax law provides that bond proceeds should be spent within 5 years. The bonds were issued November 12, 2015. The road bond fund currently has $328,000 and change in it. We've already broken out by category. Basically, what we would do to preserve your funds is take the funds out of the road bond, apply it to the debt service payments that have already occurred for the road bonds for this year. So now we're in compliance with the bond covenants. And then that would create obviously additional surplus in the general fund. We would then take those surpluses, transfer those into the capital reserve fund and basically place them back into reserve by ward, just the way they are now. It's just that they won't be in the bond fund anymore. They'll be in the capital reserve fund.
So question I have quickly on that is Ward 1, 2, 3, 4, is that including the 10,000 that we authorized for the road claimer a few months back?
No, the reclaimer, this is what's in there as of now. The reclaimer has not been bought yet. It has not been spent yet. So that is what everyone has as of today.
Okay, thank you.
So we would be putting in what everyone had in their wards plus the 35,000 in retainage. That is still yet to be paid to Cardi. That still leaves 40,000 of excess funds that were from the senior center refi, and those would appropriately stay as additional surplus for the general fund for fiscal year 2020. Does anyone have any questions?
No, do we need to take a vote on this?
Yes, because I do have a resolution. There's a resolution to be voted on.
All right, I need somebody to make a motion to move that. I'm sorry.
I'll move the
Move the
resolution.
resolution. Second.
Second, we already made all the discussion in the world. Any other comment? Hearing none, I'll take a roll call vote. Councilman Licciardi?
Yes.
Councilman Messier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williamson?
Yes.
Councilman D'Amico?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Resolution authorizing the finance director to remit an additional $30,022 to the pension fund in accordance with cost projection dated July 1, 2019.
Move the resolution.
So this goes back to that whole cost projection.
Second.
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, did I speak too soon?
Yeah, I needed a
Yes.
second.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
I can talk now.
Yeah.
So this goes back to that cost projection that, you know, this is the beginning of where we should start contributing more to reach that goal of being non-critical for the pension. I was asked back in the fall if we were going to pay this extra 30,000 by our pension people, the people who do the pension valuation, and she was the one that brought it to my attention. I didn't notice that difference when I was doing the budget last year. So she said, we need to know if you're going to pay that because we need to consider that in the valuation. And, you know, at that time I said, well, yeah, if we're required to pay it, then we will pay it. So it's at this point now, we're at the end of the year. We are going to have a surplus this year. So I'm just putting it before you to get permission to pay the extra 30,000 for this year at least.
So what impact does it have, again, because staying with where we are and what we're doing, and I know it's $30,000, but it's $30,000. What impact, did you go back and have a conversation with her if we don't pay that? What impact that has on what she's provided us?
No, I haven't. I actually emailed her and I have not heard back from her. I emailed her the night that we had the initial discussion about the 167,000 and I did not hear back from her. So I'll have to reach out to her again. But what it'll do is it'll just change all those numbers going down, going forward, where they were originally supposed to be 100.3. They've already changed. They're going to change again. They'll just be higher.
My inclination is to not go down that road this year, but for the same reasons that we talked about, it's even though we will have a surplus. I don't know what other council members think. Again, I don't want to set precedent. I think we made it clear for the 2021 budget, we're not going to do it. I don't know if there's any point in being consistent this year with next year.
Well, I think we said earlier, if there's extra money next year, at the end of the year, we can maybe put it in at the end. And I think this is what Kristen's trying to do now.
Yes, I would agree.
Think about it. We've actually approved, we've had to make some corrections from a couple of little shortfalls over the past couple of years that we had to vote on think it was about 6 months ago that we had to put some money in there also to catch up. So, I mean, I don't think 30,000 will hurt us at this point.
Kind of offset by the surprise of moving those funds, the extra 40,000 that's going in for the asphalt, for the senior center refi, the additional funds is 40,000 going in. That is not in my projection that I gave you. So,
Okay.
but the 30,000 is in my projection.
So you're talking about a $10,000 positive swing actually, as opposed to.
That's correct.
You muted, David.
Still.
Any other comment from the council? I hear none. Councilman Licciardi,
Yes.
Councilman Messier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williamson,
I'll give the reluctant yes. It's not something that I would probably vote on a regular basis, but yes.
Thank you.
Councilman D'Amico,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Authorization for the Department of Public Works to dispose of excess property vehicles.
Move the resolution.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion, Don?
Yes. In order for me to dispose of equipment or property vehicles, I have to ask permission. So here I have 9 pieces of equipment that I'm asking to get off my property or off the town's property. A couple of them are police vehicles that had been involved in crashes. There's a 2000 plus or minus military Hummer that I have no idea why the DPW ended up with it, but there's a couple of pieces of equipment that are old Packards that are gone. There's a 1980 tractor, and I did provide pictures. I hope you guys all saw them, but for the most part, they're not great pieces of equipment. And so whoever buys them will be purchasing them probably for parts. And so I'd like to go ahead and move on that. And I think I'll have to do one more in the fall, and then I'll be totally cleaned out of all of the excess junk that I have in the backyard.
So Don, what's the process with this? Is you put it out, like, I don't want to keep everybody all night, but so we're selling these, obviously people are buying them, money comes in, whatever money it is that comes in. What is the do you have any plans to do something with that money?
It goes back into the town coffers, whatever money it should be. I think the last time we did it, it was maybe $3,000 or $4,000. It wasn't a lot of money.
All right.
But again, I have a legal requirement for you to tell me that it's okay to get rid of all of this old equipment.
Don, you put those bids on the DPW website or the town website?
No, that'll be run through Kristen's people. It'll be advertised, and then we'll put it on our webpage as well, but it'll be advertised and then it'll be run through the finance department.
Thank you.
So I hate to be a stickler, but is the agenda item detailed enough to actually move on this? The resolution is, and the pictures are great.
Well, no, it's clearly indicating that he's asking for authorization to dispose of what you're giving him. As far as the next step in the process, that would be on the bids on the town's website. So I would say yes.
Okay.
Any other comment?
I have one question, if you don't mind. If once we go through this process, can I simply report back to the council, or do I have to come back for you to vote on the people who have turned around and auction, put an auction or bid in.
Don, I think in the past, you're not going to get as much action as you may think you're going to get on these.
Right.
So I don't think there's going to be any type of concerted effort in a bidding war. So if you think, based upon what you know about these 9 particular vehicles, even zeroing them out, if there's even no scrap value, you kind of have an idea of where you're going to be as far as any revenue coming in. So I don't think you need to come back to the town council to authorize each individual sale or each individual bid, because that would just take too long.
Okay, appreciate it.
All right, any comment?
Actually, I will ask one. Are there any guidelines around, do town employees get first dibs? How does that happen?
No, I'm sorry. It's a wide open, whoever puts the best bid in for the piece of equipment, they get the piece of equipment.
Town employees are not prohibited from making bids.
Actually,
Correct.
anybody and everybody in the public can put a bid in. And they, like I said, it's open bid. They open up all the bids. Is that still done publicly in the council?
Yep.
chambers, or is that?
Yep. Judy
Yes, it
will go
is.
upstairs. Yeah, if there's anyone there, she'll do it. Yep.
And just for the record, I will not be putting a bid in for any one of those pieces of junk.
You don't want the Hummer? Come on.
I don't want the Hummer.
Great salesman. You're a great salesman, Don.
Okay.
All right, Councilman Licciardi,
Yes.
Messier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williamson. It's getting late.
Yes.
Councilman D'Amico,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of West Warwick extending and amending the Comprehensive Collection Services Agreement dated.
that
We did that.
We did that already.
Oh, did I miss one then? No. Oh, we're done.
Moved it.
Got it. I see. Yeah, you did do it. Public comment, designated portion of Town Council's open meeting for citizens to address comments of the Town Council relating to matters affecting the public business. Comments will only be addressed to the Town Council, who will take them under advisement. When addressing the Town Council, please state your name and address. Please conduct yourself in an orderly and respectful fashion. The comments of citizens accessing this portion of our meeting are neither adopted nor endorsed by this body, but heard as requested. Members of the Town Council, being the duly elected public body as identified in Rhode Island General Law 42-46-23, have no obligation to respond to the public's comments.
Any public comment? Anybody in the attendees, if you want to raise your hand, if you want to speak. I see nobody raising their hand.
I'm going to
Motion
make
to
a
adjourn.
motion to adjourn. Well, you still beat me.
Sorry.
No, don't apologize.
I just want to point out that's a 4-hour and 37-minute council meeting. And all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you.
14-hour day.
Yep.
Stay safe.
Long day.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, everybody who holds these
Thank you.
meetings for us.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Have a good night. See
You
you.
too.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye, Joe.